Hey loves, welcome to my channel. My name is Melissa. I'm going to be talking about my rhinoplasty experience in Turkey with Dr. Selim Turan. The reason why I'm doing this is because I couldn't find any YouTube videos on their experience with Dr. Selim Turan. I did find a lot of TikToks and I did get in contact with some girls that went to him. They were so helpful, but I think it would really be helpful for somebody to post a video on YouTube and really explain everything, your experience, your thoughts, your recommendation. I'm going to be 100% blunt with everything that I thought. And at the end of the day, like how my experience has been. I am 1 month post-op, so I'm really happy with my healing so far. This is like the side, middle, and the left. And I do not have a filter. I do have my makeup done, and I did not contour my nose. I really wanted to set realistic expectations with viewers on how it's looking and how I'm healing. The first things first, you want to do your research on the doctor. I found Dr. Selim Turan on Instagram. Really loved his work. I felt like he really didn't miss with everything that he was doing. And then I started to do a lot of research on reviews. So on Google, on his website, realself.com. And then I also talked to girls that went to him. And I found some videos on TikTok, so I would message those girls. 2 of them did respond. They were super helpful, really informative. I asked so many questions and they would always answer, which was really nice of them. Some of them didn't answer. Of course, you can't expect everybody to answer because it's time consuming, but that's the reason for this video. Anybody that's looking to go to him, I definitely recommend to listen to the full video. Or if you're thinking of going to Turkey for rhinoplasty, you should definitely stick through the video because I'm going to be talking really bluntly about everything that I experienced and how I'm healing and my recommendation and really what you could expect. And I know a lot of the surgeons in Turkey are similar, so I'll talk all about that. So I first messaged him on Instagram. He has a WhatsApp number, so that is basically his nurse or his assistant, I would say. So they go over the pricing with you. Pricing does increase every year, and I would do a video on just the cost and everything that I spent, but it's going to change year to year. But I paid 6,000 euros, and it was a primary. Never had fillers in my nose, never had a revision, anything like that. So just to tell you a little bit about how that works. So if you do have revision or you had filler in your nose, it's going to cost you more money. So of course, expect that. But when you're doing your research on the doctor, like I said, the first thing I messaged them, they're asking you questions like, is it my primary? They want to see pictures of my nose just to see if they would accept my case. So they basically told me they would. That's how much. And then the next thing they tell you, like when you're looking to do surgery, so they'll try to accommodate based on his calendar. Again, he's a busy doctor. He's getting more Instagram famous, more TikTok famous. So of course, more demand. So you definitely want to ask like what dates work with you before you book anything. And then another thing too, they require a deposit. So let's say you want January 20th. I'm picking a random date. But if you want that date, in order to hold that day and lock it in, they need to receive your $1,000 deposit. And then they'll lock in the date for you, basically. So that's how it works. They do give you some time, obviously. I believe she gave me like 3 days, if I'm not mistaken, and you could do a wire transfer. So it's 1,000 euros a deposit. So that came up to like 1,200 US dollars with the exchange rate of that the bank charged. So not too bad. So once I sent in my deposit, that locked in my surgery date for November 12th, I'm sorry. November 12th was my surgery date. And then, so you can't have a consultation before meeting the doctor, which is the one thing that a lot of people probably won't move forward is because of that reason. But I just want to encourage you that if the doctor's talented and you've done the research, you feel comfortable, it's literally going to be the same thing if you're doing it once before the consultation or a day before. Literally going to be the same thing because they can't really tell you anything unless they see you in person, which makes a lot of sense to me. I know some girls got surgery the same day. They had like a FaceTime conversation with him and he was able to provide like, okay, I could do your nose, whatever. And it's a really quick FaceTime, so it's not even worth it. That's not a true consultation. So I didn't have that. I didn't ask for that. And I didn't know that was an option, honestly, but it didn't matter because he literally said like, well, not him, the assistant said, we need to see you in person to really assess your nose and all that good stuff, which makes sense because they have to see your nose, feel it, see the inside, how deviated it is, all of that. I did have a deviated septum. I was told by an ENT here when I got my tonsils removed that it was a little bit deviated and they told me if I wanted to get it done. But I said no because I was planning to do a rhinoplasty, so I wasn't going to get that done and not get the bump that I didn't like fix, which I'm going to drop some pictures of my before and after so you could really see what I'm talking about. My nose wasn't terrible, but to me, like the bump was noticeable and I didn't like it, so I wanted to get it fixed, so I did it for myself. So when I had my consultation with him. Fast forward, which I should probably go back a little bit. You have your consultation the day before your surgery, right? So we got to Turkey. My best friend and I did it together. So that was really exciting. But we got there Sunday night, and then the next day was Monday, and they wanted us to go in to get our blood drawn. So they do want to test your blood. And I'm assuming they're just looking to make sure that you're healthy. And so they messaged us, I think a day before, like, oh, can you come to the hospital at 10 a.m. for your blood testing? That's where you get your blood testing, same hospital you're getting your surgery at. So they did send us that text the day before. That's something, again, I didn't love the communication because I am a very anxious person and I like to plan things ahead of time. So the fact that I didn't know like what time to be there, and they kept on saying, oh, we're going to tell you a few days before surgery, that made me a little nervous. But again, I heard that's really normal with the surgeons in Turkey and how they move and how they do things. So went to get on the blood work. Initially, they had told us that they were only going to be operating on me and my best friend, so 2 people. We get to the to do blood work. There's other girls sitting down waiting, so we start talking. 2 girls from Canada that are also friends that are doing it together. So they're also seeing Dr. Selim. And I was like, oh, when's your surgery date? And it was tomorrow, same day as us. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. I thought he only did 2 a day, but whatever. Then I seen another girl. She was from Australia, and again asked her, when are you doing your surgery? She was doing hers the day after us. So there was 4 of us going the same day, and then she was after us. So at this point I was concerned, so I messaged the nurse just stating my concern, like, hey, I thought you said that he only does 2 a day, so is he doing 4 now? And she's like, yeah, sometimes it depends, he does 2 to 4 a day. But she's like, talk to him if you're concerned, maybe you could go first. I said, yeah, I definitely want to go first because I was not told this. And the good thing is that he did take me first. My best friend went after me. And then one of the other girls, she was getting a revision. So revisions are always going to be last. So just an FYI, if you do have a revision and you're going to him, you're probably going to be the last one because they're more complicated. So he usually does those last. But again, I don't think it matters if you go first or last. If he's a great doctor, your results are going to be great anyways. But for me, I wanted to go first just to make my anxiety go down. So I did go first. So that made me feel better. But again, like, wasn't prepared for that. So that was something I wasn't too happy about, to be honest. And then after that, we got our blood draw, and then the consultation same day. But we went to get our blood drawn at 10 a.m. The consultation was at 4. And that was for the 4 of us that are seeing, well, actually all of us, the 5 of us, because even the girl that's going the next day. So the way that he does things, he does consultation and cast removal days, I believe, and I don't know what days of the week he does this, but I'm just going to give an example. We went on a Monday to do the blood work and the consultation. So on Mondays, I knew he did consultations and also cast removal. So there was patients there that needed their cast removed, like follow-up visits, right? And then he has surgery days where I'm assuming that's where he does the 4 cases a day because those are his surgery days. So I'm sure he has a couple surgeries days and a couple consultation cast removal days. Anyways, when we walk into the clinic, there's so many people, so you could just expect to be overwhelmed immediately because you're there for a consultation, and then there's people there that literally have a cast on, and some people are super swollen, some people are not. Everybody heals differently, but it makes you like your anxiety high, you get nervous. Well, I did, my own experience, but seeing so many people give me a lot of anxiety because I'm like, oh my God, he's so busy. And it started to kind of freak me out. But I was like trying to calm myself down, like, hey, I haven't even talked to him. Let me be positive, whatever. And everybody heals differently, so I can't expect to look like somebody else, or I won't know until I do this, technically, right? Because everybody is different and everybody heals differently, right? But it does give you a lot of anxiety how busy they are. And you're like, oh my God, he does so many people. And so your anxiety obviously goes up seeing so many people waiting in a waiting area for him. And it's obviously one doctor. So I already knew that we were not going to be seen at 4 o'clock. There was no way. So that's one of the things I did not love because I'm super big on time management, being on time, and people were being respectful of your time. So we got there at 4. I don't think we were seen until like 6 p.m. or something by him, because at first you do get seen by the nurse, so that they did take us in right away. So the nurse goes over your post-op care. So all the directions you have to follow. How do you clean? How do you like clean the nose after surgery? So she goes into detail about all of that. And you sign all the paperwork with the nurse. So she's going page by page, the documents you're signing, which is, you're signing a lot. Feels like you're signing your life away, which I'm sure you've heard that. Same as like when you're buying a house, you're signing all this documentation, which obviously they don't want to be liable if something goes wrong. So that's documentation is going in detail on that. And again, it's going over the post-op care. Like, you shouldn't go to the gym until 8 to 10 weeks after. You shouldn't wear sunglasses for 4 months. You should restrain from physical activity for 14 days. So it's giving you everything that you the post-op care. So she goes over that in detail. Super helpful. The nurses are great, very nice, very friendly. So then after she was done, and then another person comes in and she goes over the payment. So you obviously pay for the remainder of what you owe in cash. I did not exchange my cash to euros. The reason why, because I did a lot of research on how much exchange rates are. And if they accept US dollars, you should pay in US dollars. And you should look into the rates, right? Because you should see what you're going to pay in a couple of days before they will tell you also. But I even know the bank name that they use. I was able to look at that website and see exactly what they were going to convert it to, because that's what they use for the conversion. So it was definitely, and it's really close to the Google exchange rate. So if you go to Google and you put in like euros to US dollars, you could see what that rate will be. It's a little bit off, but it's kind of close. So you could look at that. But I think you do save money if you bring US dollars, because if you exchange to euros and you're exchanging at these currency exchange places, or don't do it at the airport, number one, they're the most expensive. Or if you do it at, let's say, somewhere in the area, they still charge you a markup. So you're going to be paying more. So definitely if a doctor accepts US dollars, take your US dollars. It's probably better off that way. But again, teach your own, do your own research on exchange rates. But that's something I didn't know. So I ended up taking US dollars, and I feel like I made the right decision. So she went over the payment, and then they charge an additional $100 for all the aftercare products that they get you, like the medicine, so antibiotics, the sneezing medication. You have to take a pill a day so you don't sneeze. You're not supposed to really sneeze after surgery because of the pressure, but if you do, you sneeze with your mouth open. And then they give you the creams, the moisturizing oil drops, the saline rinses, and then there's another like saline spray that you're using right after surgery, because you can't do the saline rinses until after. And I know some surgeons are different with that. So again, just going off of my doctor and what the directions that he gave us is what I followed. So that's all that they provided. That costs around $100. I know some people have it included in their packages. I didn't even get offered that, but honestly, I think it's better not to do that because you're probably saving more money. So I would always ask if the medication's included and transfer, and kind of compare the costs and see how much you're really saving, because you obviously want to save money at the end of the day. So that's what I would recommend in that, like, make sure you do your research. So after that, we paid, and then we're sitting down, waiting. Like I said, I don't know what time it was, but I feel like we waited a long time. And your anxiety is already on 10 because there's so many people in there. Like I said, there's people that like look like they're hurting, and they're probably not hurting, but they're swollen and eyes are swollen and they have the cast on. So you're like really feeling antsy, and it's not the best feeling. So that's one thing that I would just say, that you be prepared to wait, basically, right? So just be prepared to wait. And then obviously if you're somebody that doesn't want to wait in there and you want to go eat and walk around, like, you could do that, and then they'll message you on WhatsApp. But we wanted to stay sitting down and wait for our turn because we had so much anxiety at this point, because all the nerves that were working up to this moment. So then when you see the doctor, you do your consultation. I will say this, it does feel very rushed, okay? And I've heard this from many people with a lot of surgeons in Turkey. They tend to be the same. So you feel really rushed because they're so busy and they have so much to do. And I totally get it, you're busy, but I do want to feel like you're valuing my time, you're explaining everything. I know your nurses explained it, but if I have questions for you, you need to answer them because I am paying you for a service. So you do feel a little bit rushed. Like, I love the doctor, he's great personality, and I highly do recommend him. So I'm not saying anything about that. I just want to be open with how I felt throughout that process. I did feel the consultation was rushed. My best friend and I did it together, which they gave us an option. We definitely wanted to sit in together to give each other, like, okay, no girl, that doesn't look good, or this looks good. So she did sit in with me on mine. I sat in with her on hers. So they take pictures before of, the left side, right side, middle. And then after that, then he does a simulation, but he only does a simulation of what it's going to look like on one side, which is your right side. And full disclosure, I normally don't like my right side as it is, so I wasn't too happy about that because I love my left side more. I don't know why, I've always been that way. I think this is my good side versus this side. But now that I got my nose done, I feel like this side is better because I don't know, I didn't like how my nose looked overall. So he only did a stimulation on my right side, so I was already not happy about that. So I asked him, hey, you're not going to show us the other side and the front? He's like, no, we only do this, we only do one side. And he basically uses an editing tool where he's doing it himself, which again, it's okay. That's the way they do things there. I just wasn't prepared for that. So I'm telling you all today, in case you're expecting a 3D imaging of every single side, they're not gonna do that for you. So just go in with that open mindset, because my sister, she got her nose done in Chicago and they did that 3D imaging of every side. So she could see how it's gonna look, every single side, front, everything. Probably different technology, I don't know. But he was like, no, this is how we do it. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go with it, I guess. I trust him, I've seen his work. So when he did my simulation picture, I did not like it, to be honest. I did not like it at all. And he's working with you, like he's telling you, do you like this, do you not? I'm like, no, that looks too high, too lift. Like I was trying to say that was too lifted in that picture. And then he's trying to fix it, and then when he's fixing it, I'm like, well, then it doesn't look too different. So you're going back and forth. So he does give you time for you to explain what you like, what you don't like, right? But then I did feel, after going back and forth a little bit, that he was getting like a little bit, not, I wouldn't say frustrated, I don't want to say that term, because like maybe it's his personality, but he is a very confident doctor. So he's like, don't worry, it's gonna look great. Like I promise you, it's not gonna be exactly like this picture, so don't worry. Like I'll make sure it doesn't look like that, because I was like, I don't want to look like a pig. Like I hate the look where the girls, like their nose is like up here and like it looks so unnatural. I did not like that look at all. So long story short, I even like he made me feel a little bit better. Like, trust me, it's not gonna look like that. Just trust me, whatever. The tip will drop anyway, so you don't want it to not be lifted because it's gonna drop. So I was like, okay, I trust him. So then long story short, after we left, and then overnight, because the surgery was the next morning, I was going for it, so I had to be up like at 6 in the morning, or I think earlier than that. Yeah, I think I had to be there at 6:30. So I had to be up early, but I could not sleep because the whole night I was looking at the simulation and I hated it. Every time I looked at it, I hated it more and more, because I felt like it looked so lifted. And I'll show you all the picture here. So as you could see in the simulation, the tip is so lifted that I feel like it looks so ugly. And I was like, there's no way that I'm gonna get this done and look like this. So I was like really freaking out, but I was like trying to be calm, trying to go to sleep. I could not sleep. And I get headaches a lot, so I got a really bad headache, and I woke up with an extremely bad headache, and I couldn't drink water or take a pill, so that really sucked. So then I go to the hospital, and then, because you stay overnight in the hospital, which is nice, but I will say this, there is a huge language barrier in that hospital. And a lot of people, overall in Turkey, a lot of people don't know English. For example, like him and his staff, they are well versed in English. So you understand the doctor real well. The nurses are great. Their English is great too. You could understand them. The hospital nurses, on the other hand, huge language barrier. They cannot speak a lick of English, some of them. And then I thankfully had this app where you could translate, which I would drop the link. The link is in the comments for the translator app. That way you could that's what I suggest you download it, because you will need it. The only bad thing is obviously if you don't have service or something, it's not going to work. So that's only the downfall, but it does work really good overall if you have service. So the nurses didn't really speak English. They weren't the friendliest, if I'm being honest. So I kind of felt like a little bit frustrated with that, because they were just not friendly, and I'm over here nervous. I have a headache. And then I asked the nurse, I said, am I going to be able to see the doctor beforehand, before surgery? And she responded right away, no. So I'm like, I didn't know if it was a language barrier or what it was, but I was already feeling that I did not like the picture. So I wanted to talk to the surgeon before, which I assumed I would talk to him. So I was really confused about that. And at this point, I'm like freaking out. I'm not going to do this if I'm not going to see the surgeon. So I'm being very stern with her. Like, you need to get the surgeon or his nurse or somebody, but I'm not doing this if I cannot talk to him before. Like, that's crazy. But again, I think it was because there was a language barrier that she said that, but she probably wasn't even sure, to be honest, because those are nurses for the hospital, not for the surgeon, which makes sense. But the way she had said no right away to me really made me upset, if I'm being totally honest. So then after going back and forth on this translator, I think she got how upset I was, and I basically saying, I'm not doing the surgery if I cannot talk to the surgeon before. Like, that's not normal. I need to make sure the surgeon is operating on me that I chose, basically, right? So then his nurse comes in, and she talks to me, and she's like, what's your concerns? Her English is also not the best, this one nurse that came in, but she was very nice, and she was trying to calm me down. I was like, well, you see in the picture, like, Ace looks so high and lifted. I do not like it. I do not want my nose to look like that. I'm really concerned. And then she was trying to reassure me, don't worry, it's not going to look like that. I'll tell him your concerns. And then she also said, like, you will see him before surgery. Don't worry. Like, once you're going to the operating room, you're going to see him. I was like, okay, thank you. Because I was freaking out because they made it seem like I wasn't. And they're like, oh, they probably didn't understand you. I was like, okay, well, that's okay. So then that kind of calmed me down. So when they took me down to the operating room, that's where I did see him. And he was like, how are you feeling? I said, I'm really nervous and I have a headache. And I don't like the picture at all. Like, I think it looks so lifted. I do not want that. Please do not do that to me, because I will hate my nose if it looks like that. And again, he was just like, don't worry, it's gonna be great, like, just don't worry. So again, he kind of reassured me, not so much, but I was comfortable enough to proceed. So then I proceeded. When I woke up from the anesthesia, I was really, really cold and like almost shaking. That's how cold I was. But then they gave me some blankets, felt better. They gave me the IV, so that calmed me down. So after an hour, I felt good, no pain. You feel a lot of pressure in your nose, but I wouldn't say pain. It's more like a pressure feeling. So really, you're not going to be in pain. And then obviously you have a lot of dry blood underneath your stitches, which is totally normal. They'll teach you how to clean that out yourself. And the nurses will also help you clean that a couple hours after that happens. So that was a little bit about the surgery. After that, I would just say with the hospital, to be transparent, like, I did not love that hospital. I feel like the nurses, some of them were really rude and a big language barrier. The night nurse was great. She did speak some English, so she was very helpful. And I also felt like every time we would push the button for a nurse to come, they would get annoyed. And I was like, I don't know why they're annoyed. Like, this is your job. I don't know why you're being rude about it, because they're like, you don't have to push every time you need something. Like, you would come out and grab us. And I was like, well, I've never heard of that before, and at a hospital, but okay. It was when I would need them, it's because I have an IV attached to me and I need to go to the bathroom, and it wasn't the ones that you could like carry around to the bathroom, FYI. So that's why if I could do that, I would have not even bothered them. Or when I needed more ice, because obviously it feels really good to put ice on your eyes, because you don't want it to get super swollen. So that was the experience. And then I asked for a pillow literally like 10 times before they brought me one, because my back was kind of hurting and I wanted to be comfortable. And that's just an example of how the service was, that it took 10 times for them to even bring me a pillow. So yeah, that wasn't a great experience. The food was terrible at the hospital. So bring snacks. We brought snacks because I heard of that beforehand, which is one of the girls that had seen him. And I asked her about that and she gave me a lot of tips, which is super helpful. And then the same night he comes to see how you're doing, to check in. And this is when he'll show you the table pictures. So I'm going to show the table pictures now. And when I seen the table pictures, I was so happy, because I was so worried about my nose being too lifted. But when I saw the table picture, I'm like, okay, good. He didn't lift too much, but at least like enough for it to, when it heals, it's going to drop a little bit. But I really love the table pictures. And I could tell, because I have thick skin, that my table pictures, I already look so swollen. Like, I could tell that it's probably going to look even better than that, because I already had swelled up really quick. So I was super happy with table pictures. Again, it's in and out. He's really quick. So in and out, he used to check on you. Then the next morning, we were there for a little bit. And then he comes again, like, hey, how you feeling? Really quick checkup. And then after that, we basically got released from the hospital, because you stay basically overnight. And then you get released. They tell you what to do with the aftercare. So then while we were healing, again, I didn't get that swollen, thankfully. I'm going to attach a picture. But my best friend, she did get a lot of swelling and a lot of bruising. So I didn't. I was so happy that I didn't. But I had a little bit yellow marks underneath my eyes, like bruising. And my cheeks were literally huge. I looked like a chipmunk. It was not cute. But it wasn't too bad. I would use ice a lot, drink a lot of pineapple juice. That helps a lot with your swelling. So I literally didn't really have it too bad. And what I will say is you just feel very congested that first week before they take off the cast and the plastic tampons that they put in there. You're gonna feel super congested, like you literally can't breathe at all. So it's hard to sleep because you have to like breathe through your mouth. So normally you don't do that, so your mouth is gonna be extra dry. So you definitely want to take chapstick, Vaseline, anything to put on your lips, because they're gonna be super dry. And then after a couple of days, I believe it's day 3 or 4, that's when you go to get it cleaned by one of his nurses. So when they do that cleaning, it's like a suction tool, and I think it's really to take out like that dry blood or anything that's basically not healing that well, I guess. So once they use that tool, after you I felt like I could breathe way better. It's still not 100%, but better. Then at cast removal, which was like day 6, when they took off the cast and they take off the plastic tampons and they clean again, you literally could breathe perfectly. Like, it's amazing. That was the happiest day ever when I could breathe again. and I could breathe before. So I had a deviated septum, but mine wasn't too bad. Well, the doctor said mine was super crooked, so I'm surprised that I could breathe as well as I did. But after that, like, my breathing was 10 times better, and my smell was really strong too, like literally really strong. So that was a lot to take in. Like, damn, I could smell like a cigarette like miles away, I felt like, and that's not the best smell because I don't smoke. So, but that's an example of like how well I could smell. Yeah, so cast removal day after that, and they so after they clean, then they remove the cast and you're able to see it for the first time. Again, I'm going to attach a quick video. I did like it when the cast came off because I could tell my bump was gone. In that moment, I'm like, oh my god, I love that. But the front was so swollen. I did not like it at all. I'm like, oh my god, I look terrible. But I knew I had to be patient throughout this process and that it was going to be swollen. So I already knew what to expect. So I wasn't freaking out or anything. I knew that this recovery process is very long. It takes a whole year to fully recover, and your swelling will be up and down. That's what I've heard. Like, right now I'm 1 month, and honestly, I don't think it looks bad at all. Like, the swelling has came down a lot, so it's looking really good. But again, other girls have experienced different things. Like, they're still really swollen at 1 month, and then some look really good at 1 month, and then 3 months they're not. They're more swollen. So everybody recovers differently. But I knew going into this, you have to be very patient, and if you're not patient, you shouldn't do this type of surgery because it's a long healing process, the whole year. So definitely make sure before you make that decision that you're setting your mind to know that you have to be patient throughout the process, and if you're not going to like it. But overall, like I said, I had a great experience with the doctor. I love my nose so far. My healing has been great. When I came home, I felt even better sleeping in my own bed. So I felt like I really started my recovery when I came back home. Anytime I had questions, they're still very responsive, and they do give you a retainer to wear for 2 weeks. All day, every day, which it could be kind of annoying, I'm not gonna lie. But then after the 2 weeks, it goes by really fast, and you're only gonna wear it at nights for a month. So that's what I've been doing. And then he only makes you tape for 4 weeks, all day, every day. After that, you don't have to tape at all. Really, he doesn't say you have to tape during a flight. He's like, I don't think that works. That's his recommendation. Everybody's different. Again, other surgeons might tell you tape up to 3 months. I don't know. He only said tape all day, every day for 4 weeks. After that, it's up to you if you want to tape at night, which I will be taping at night just to make sure that I could contain the swelling a little bit better. But I'm so happy I don't have to wear it all day because I don't think you need it really. And yes, the tape is really annoying to deal with, just in my opinion. And I will be doing a video on just like a short clip on how to tape and how to massage. You do massage 5 times a day for like 2 minutes each. So, but massaging really helps the swelling go down. So I'm on top of massaging my nose and the way that he showed us how to do it. Things that I wish I knew that I didn't know would probably be your smile is so awkward at first. So be prepared for that because you will not see your teeth when you smile because it's so numb still. My smile is still not 100% back. Like, it's coming back, but not really. Because I used to think my teeth would show more. So my smile is starting to get better, but it's not fully there. So just know you're not going to have your smile for like the first maybe month or 2, normal smile that you have. And also definitely take cough drops because after your surgery, your throat's going to be sore because they put a tube down there. So it does make your throat extremely sore. So you literally feel like you're sick. Like, you can't breathe, your throat hurts from the tube that they put. So I definitely suggest to bring cough drops. That's what I did, and it helped smooth the sore throat. Another thing, your teeth are gonna be so sore and sensitive. I'm assuming it's the numbing that they put because it's probably intense numbing. So it's kind of like your teeth like just feel really numb and they kind of hurt. Like, for the first week, I would say they kind of hurt and they feel weird. Mine wasn't too bad, honestly. My best friend, on the other hand, like, she said like her teeth were really bothering her at some point. Like, she's like, oh, my teeth hurt so bad. Mine really didn't. Now, like, my teeth are way more sensitive. So if I drink cold water, my teeth hurt. Like, it almost feels like I have like those white strips. And that's how the sensitivity is. That's how sensitive you feel on your teeth. So that's something I didn't not know. So just be prepared for that. Your teeth will be more sensitive. And then the sneezing too. Like, I didn't know that you would get medication so you won't sneeze. You sneeze with your mouth open. It's not the biggest deal. And for post-op care, they say you can't go to the gym for 8 to 10 weeks, which for me sucks because I love working out. That's been kind of challenging. But of course, I want to recover and heal before I start putting my body through that. And then they say you can't wear sunglasses for 4 months. Again, every surgeon's different. I've heard other surgeons say otherwise, but I'm going to wait the 4 months. I don't want to mess anything up. They give you all the post-op care. So again, there's a lot that you will figure out as you go through the process. But I hope that this video helps people that want to go to Dr. Selim, because I could not find any YouTube videos, and he has really good reviews. Overall, I do recommend him because I'm really happy with my results. But like I said, the only things that I didn't love was like how long I had to wait for the consultation, how rushed it felt, the hospital, which is not his problem because he's not, those are not his nurses, but maybe he could give them some feedback that they were kind of rude and the communication wasn't the best. But again, if you're going to a different foreign country, you should expect that already to have a language barrier. So just expect that. And like I said, be as prepared as possible. Download the app, screenshot maybe things that you say often that you would say like in a cab or when you're ordering food. That way you have it in case your service goes out. That's what I would recommend. But overall, like I said, I do recommend him. I think he's great. I love the way my nose is healing. I've had a great experience. And if there's anyone that wants to message me and ask me direct questions, please feel free to do so. I'll be so happy to talk to you about it. Just because I wish that people were that open with me. Like, thankfully, 2 girls on TikTok, they were so responsive, so helpful. And it's really nice to talk to multiple people and not just one person, because you want different perspectives of different experiences. So I definitely recommend to talk to multiple people. Reach out to girls on TikTok, whoever you can, to really chat with you. My best friend will probably be doing a vlog too, so you could reach out to her. She's somebody else. You could ask about her experience, how her recovery was, because everybody is truly different. So I definitely recommend you reach out to multiple people before you make that decision. But I will say that the overall experience in Turkey is good. I felt safe, and I thought it was a great way to save money, because in the US they charge about 20 to 30K, which is a lot of money. Turkey is known for nose jobs, so you definitely are in the best hands. They're professional, but they are getting very popular, so obviously prices are going to increase. So you'll still be surprised that if you wait 2 years, that price is not going to be the same as when he first gave you the price. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing more videos as I heal more. So I'll probably do like a 3-month post-op, 6 months, and then my year mark, just to kind of tell you anything that's changing, what I'm experiencing, how I'm healing. And again, I would love to help anybody that has questions. Happy to help. Thanks for tuning into my channel.